Everyone, it's Dobrel. So I'm very excited to be kicking off my new podcast series called Club Chronicles. So I'm going to be interviewing some of the biggest names in dance music, people I work with, people I'd like to work with, and some of my all-time heroes. First up is Xavier S Grey from New York, who I recently worked on a track that's released on No Face Records called The Joy. You have to check it out. But first, here's the interview.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you, man. What's going on?
Oh, not much, just trying to enjoy this weather here in New York City.
Yeah. I mean, we've been waiting for summer in Ireland. I don't know what it's been like in the States, but it's been like raining cats and dogs here. And yeah, finally, like I think in the last week, the sun has started to shine and it's great. Everyone's happy.
Yeah. I think the same here. I think the feeling is mutual.
So look, I mean, as you know, I'm kicking off Club Chronicles, and this is going to be interview with people I work with, people I admire, people that I want to get to, tell their story on dance music and club culture. And obviously, we've worked together on our track and the joy. So that's been out now a couple of weeks, and it's doing pretty good, I think. So
Oh, it's doing great. It's doing great. Yeah, I get a lot of great feedback and I can't wait to get into that too because yeah, I see some really good things that are happening as far as the joy is concerned. So it's been great for me and I'm sure for you too. But thank you so much. It's a beautiful track.
yeah, I love it. I have to say, and I think every time I play it, I just get goosebumps. It's such a good track. So, yeah, we want to keep pushing it and keep promoting it. So, yeah, everyone, make sure you listen to the joy and you like it and you share it. Spread the joy, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
That's what it's all about. So look, tell me a little bit about your background, your history, and how you got into dance music. And I suppose obviously, I came across you more as a singer-songwriter, but you've been releasing music yourself and producing yourself. So give me a little bit of for everyone, to know about you and what your history, your background is, and what got you into music.
Sure, absolutely. Well, of course, my name is Xavier S. Grey, and I grew up in the Bronx, here in New York City in the United States. And growing up, I grew up during the disco era,
Right.
believe it or not, and throughout the 70s,
Yeah.
and the beginning of the rap era. And so what really influenced me in terms of dance music, as I said, growing up around disco and then rap music starting to progressively take over the industry at one point.
Yeah.
Somehow, house music, dance music, garage music, techno music, electronic music kept finding its way back, in the clubs, in the streets, on the radio, in some shape, form, or fashion. So somehow, some way, I always had an ear for it. I was always an earshot of it. And I mean, I've always loved dance music. It's always feel good music. It's never something that you have to put a condition on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, obviously, and it's you're talking there. There's a lot of history and culture in New York around music in general, right? So certainly as you're talking there, I was a big hip hop fan when I was growing up, and so that's resonating with me as well. But similarly, I was always into dance music and got into dance music more and more over time. Then, so well, I guess what was it for you that kind of just clicked that was really what you wanted to do and what you wanted to be part of?
What did it for me was well, actually, I grew up around a lot of entertainers. My next door neighbor was actually the first lady of Def Jam Records.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Allison Williams. So I grew up with Allison Williams and her dad, Bobby Booker, who was a famous trumpeter in Harlem here in New York City. And yeah, I mean, there's so much history in terms of music. I mean, I've reached out to several people just through Allison, and have met quite a few of number of musicians, artists, writers, and very theatrical people. And I also got a chance to work with Allison, and I got a chance to work with also Hinton Battle, who's a three-time Tony Award winner on Broadway. And because of those ties and intricacies, that really got me more and more interested into entertaining and music, because I knew that it was more about, there was a business behind it, but behind the business or in front of the business was this creativity.
Yeah.
And so, just constantly being around creative people. And then one of my dear friends who unfortunately passed away about 3 years ago, his name is Lee Truesdale. And he was definitely a force to be reckoned with. And he was a house and club artist as well. So these were some of my, and briefly, some of the people that
Yeah.
I knew, and that I was influenced into getting into music and singing and doing house music.
That's amazing. And yeah, so what was the club scene like back then, and what's it like now? How do you kind of see the progression, or what's changed, and what do you think the current state of play is in New York right now for house music, for deep house, for dance music?
It's funny. I think I'm one of those rare people that believe that, to me, the it's just the faces that have changed. And of course, there are still some that are still there, thank goodness. But to me, it really hasn't changed much in terms of, inviting everyone to the table. And I always like to keep house music and dance music on a positive. So I think that, just to keep it on a positive, I don't believe it's changed at all as far as inviting everyone to the table. Knowing that, you can come as you are, as the gospel of house would say, come as you are. Yeah, you're all invited, and you're all loved. And I think that once you hit the dance floor, there is no other feeling but vibes and rhythms,
Yeah.
love, joy. And you want to feel good. You want to let go. And that's one of the things that I love about dance music. Even when you're having one of pardon the expression, one of the shittiest days in the world. You're throwing a house music, a house track. Next thing you know, it was like your day has started anew. It started anew.
Absolutely.
So
It's a great way
yeah,
to
yeah,
reboot. Yeah, definitely a great way to reboot, right? So yeah,
absolutely,
because it
absolutely,
gets you right in here. So yeah.
yeah.
That's cool. So, yeah, just list, I mean, some of your favorite artists over the years. Is there, if you were your digital island disc, right? So if you had to pick, say, three, tracks that kind of influence you, or that you really love. And again, it can be any three. It doesn't have, yeah, you're not going to the desert island anytime soon, but just in case you had to pack those, two or three tracks, what would they be? It's a tough one, I know. This one, I mean, I'd struggle, but you can list one,
That's not fair.
yeah. Obviously the joy, obviously, has to be there, right?
Oh, of course, the joy.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Um, if I was to pick three songs that personally, for me, that has changed, or a matter of fact, I should say that personally influenced me musically.
yeah.
I would have to say one of the songs would be, there's a group that was called Two Puerto Ricans, a Black Man, and a Dominican.
Oh, interesting.
And the song is called Do It Properly. It's one of the earliest house records
Okay.
that was done. And the producers on that album, excuse me, on that track was Robert Cole and David Cole, and you might know them as CNC Music Factory.
Oh, of course, everyone's heard of CNC, right? Yeah, yeah.
Right. So when you hear two Puerto Ricans, a black man and a Dominican, that is actually CNC Music
Wow,
Factory.
I did not know that. I'm sure a lot of people didn't know that. So that's an interesting fact, for everyone. I mean, that's definitely a pub quiz one, man. I mean, people are gonna lap that up.
Yeah, yeah. So that's definitely integral in terms of um house music. One of the songs I think is very influential. Um, I think another song that's very influential is, oh gosh. I would say it would have to be Donna Summer.
Yeah,
Donna Summer, I would have to go all the way back to the disco days.
yeah.
And the song that you would be surprised that I would pick would be Love to Love You, Baby.
Okay.
And the reason why I picked that particular song is because if you listen carefully, it's one of the beginnings of how they extended mixes
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
and how they extended tracks. And it's very, very, I don't like to call it a dinosaur and I don't want to call it old, but I will call it a definite classic in terms
Classic.
of
Yeah.
editing, mixing, and the extension of song and the extension of a track. So I think that's a very important track to me. And it definitely kept me on my toes for 17 minutes. I don't know about anyone else.
Excellent.
And oh gosh. And then the third one would be you know what? I'm gonna say here, The Joy
All right.
with DJ Dobrel and featuring Xavier S Grey. If you don't know, now you know.
Absolutely. And
On
now,
all platforms. You always got to save the best for last. And the reason why I picked that particular track is because it bridges the gap between producer and artist from across the world, and how at a time we are feeling so segregated and separated,
mm,
and how two forces on opposite sides of the world have come together to bring you something, not only for your listening pleasure, but just something to make you feel good from within, because we all can reach down inside and find some joy. We all have it within us. So yeah,
absolutely.
those would be my three.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
just to ask you then, I suppose, what was kind of your, I know we obviously worked together on the track and kind of went back and forth, but what was your main inspiration for the lyrics? And you feel, is it that? Is it really that you feel that? Because I guess, there's so much shit going on in the world, right? That, it's always good, I think, to put out, nice music and inspirational music for people, right?
Yeah, I we just came out of a pandemic. Well, at the time we
At the
were
time,
we
yeah.
were still going
Yeah.
going through the pandemic, and I kind of figured that this wasn't going to be an ongoing thing.
Hmm.
I knew it would be something that we're not going to forget,
Hmm.
and it's going to be something that we would have to be dealing with, in our daily lives, just as a human race.
Yeah.
Uh, but when things were okay enough, and when we were able to reconnect, I knew it had to be soon. I knew that this couldn't keep going on and keep lasting forever. And that's why it always says, I feel that, I feel the joy, the love in my heart, you know, um, because this just couldn't last forever. And we were so segregated for a while. And this is something that's new in my lifetime, and I'm pretty sure in
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
And that was something that we all could use. So it pretty much wrote itself.
Yeah, I think so. And I remember at the time as well, as you said, we were kind of going through, the whole world was going through that. And I think it's something unique where, everyone went through it and hopefully, it brought people, a bit closer together maybe. So that's my hope for the world, that at least we all went through the same thing and we can relate to that. So yeah, it's great. It's great that we can kind of release music then to kind of help people, maybe not forget, but move on from that situation, right?
And one of my favorite lines, it's like, Here we stand, tall, tried, and true.
Yeah.
Nothing can come between what's me and you.
Yeah.
So that, not even COVID can stand between us. Nothing can stand between what's between me and you. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so here we are, we're back in the groove of things, and we're getting back to normalcy. Well, as normal is.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's great, now we can kind of start planning for, I know myself planning for gigs and stuff, and I know you're kind of doing the same. So, what's that feel like now that you're kind of, getting out there again?
Um, things are slow. People are still apprehensive, especially here in New York City.
Yeah,
But they're getting back to normal is pretty much the general feeling, and people are starting to become more comfortable again.
that's great. That's great. So, yeah, look, and I know also we've got some other stuff in the pipeline. Where do you want to see yourself as an artist in, say, 2, 3 years? I mean, what's your ambition as an artist? What do you want the world to know?
Well, I want the world to know that house music is ageless. House music is about love. House music um, has so many avenues that hasn't been tapped into, and avenues where it needs to be tapped into some more. Right now, I believe that there's a resurgence of house music,
Yeah,
and there's a lot of creativity. Um, I mean, of course, everyone's heard that Beyonce is out on tour now, and her Renaissance tour, and that her project was built around house music. And some people would beg to argue that that's not house music, but to me, it's in the ear of the beholder. I call it house music because she's brought some house artists to the forefront,
yeah.
and which was really really cool and very supportive. But where do I see myself now? Actually, I see myself now. Hopefully, we have another track out there, and just doing more live events, and just just telling my story to the world, and hopefully people can receive that house music is, as I said, is a welcoming genre of music. And yeah, if hey, anytime you're feeling any type of way, grab a song by Xavier S Grey,
Yes.
uh and or DJ Dobrel,
Yeah.
and you know yeah, it's that feel good music, So yeah, check us out. Check out all our projects, and you can always definitely find me on all the
Excellent.
platforms.
Any advice for other artists out there, maybe who are, not as experienced as you, who want to kind of start songwriting or really want to kind of go follow a similar path? Any kind of golden nuggets that you'd have for, say, any young up and coming artists, singers, any kind of do's, don'ts, real quick.
Absolutely,
You think of, yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
All right.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. Well, okay. Rule number one: when they tell you you can't, you tell yourself, yes, the hell you can.
Yes.
Number two: if they keep telling you you can't, you say to hell with them. I can, and I'm going to keep on doing it until I find that yes that I need. And then number three, which really should be number one, um, is just believe in yourself enough, and um, know that you are worthy of the attention to hone in on your craft. And sometimes it takes for you to, I wouldn't say necessarily separate yourself from people, uh, but I wouldn't take in what other people say about your creativity. And I say just hone in on your craft and just believe in yourself enough. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, it's great advice because I suppose there's so, you can become kind of bombarded with information out there, or if you're putting your music out for feedback, you know, music is so subjective, right? So, some people are gonna like it, some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna probably hate it, right? So, but it's don't necessarily take the haters to heart, right? That's really important, I think, because also for your mental health, and I think as you said, just believe in yourself, right? I mean, if you believe it's good enough, then it's good enough, right?
Well, here's a quick story. You know what about believing in yourself? I remember back in the 90s, and I was just dipping and dabbling, songwriting. And this was, just very early on. And so, I was at a whole hum job, and I was just trying to, I said, you know what, I love poetry. And I said, let me just dabble in it. And so one of my favorite artists, Melba Moore, I was able to get her contact information because she was looking for songs and she was looking for songwriters and she was looking for all these things. And so then when I submit my projects to her, or when I give her a call, no, I'm sorry, when I give her a call to submit my projects, um, actually, she pretty much put her foot in my ass.
Right.
But let me tell you, no, I'm loving it. I
Yeah.
loved her for it because it taught me something about the business. So
Yeah.
you have to not every negative
Hmm.
situation is actually negative or what you may think is negative. So you have to turn things into a positive. So I was
Yeah.
able to learn from that experience. And what I've learned was that you just can't send lyrics in. You have to send in a demo.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that then. So, you
More
know,
constructive, well, constructive criticism, I would say, right? Rather than,
I,
yeah,
yeah,
which
but
is
you know
good,
what I
right?
loved her for? Oh, I loved her
Yeah.
for it. I loved her for it. So I walked away with knowing that much more about um, what I should be doing and not doing. And because I accepted the no, because it was a
Yeah.
no, and because of the way that I accepted the no, because you have to be a person that can accept no. This is a very harsh business. And if you're
Very
not
harsh.
mentally
Yeah.
prepared for the word no, if you're not mentally prepared for people and their opinions on you, then I would say reevaluate your place in the business of music.
Yeah. No, it's a very good point. I suppose, yeah, I mean, obviously getting feedback and, trying to improve your craft, the feedback loop is super important, right? But I think I would
Mhm.
distinguish that between maybe just somebody who has, an opinion that's not invested in you. I think it's important to kind of differentiate, do the people you're working with, are they invested in you as an artist? And then yes,
Mhm.
absolutely, value their feedback and take it on board to improve your craft, right? As opposed to,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
random, uh, information that's everywhere now with social media and on the internet, right? So yeah.
Oh, I get crazy feedback. I get some good feedback. I get some, interesting feedback. I just get feedback. And, again, it's mainly positive, of course.
Of
It's
course,
mainly
yeah, yeah.
positive. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate any comment that anyone has to offer. And I just take it in stride.
Yeah, that's all we can do, right?
Mhm.
That's all we can do.
Right, right. Yeah.
Just maybe just kind of closing out, and any right. So in terms of the industry, is there anything that you'd like to change or that you could change if you had a magic wand? So you could say, right, I want to change this about the music industry, um, just from a high level. What are your thoughts there?
I would change the perception of age,
Hmm.
to be very honest. I think that um, the younger artists, if they're fortunate enough to be in the business long enough, will see that them too would be an older artist as well, and someone
Yeah,
younger coming up the pipeline is going to feel the same way that you're feeling now. So I think to change the narrative of who shouldn't be doing house music, what house music looks like, what it should sound like. Again, I think there's room for everyone at the table. And to me, it's just one of those things where if age wasn't placed on the industry so much, I think that there would be a lot more greatness that could be visible. It's not that it doesn't exist, because there's a lot of greatness in house music. I just think that there would be a lot more visibility if it wasn't for the fact of the as I would like to say, the nuances of the industry and how they perceive what house artists should look like or sound like.
yeah, I know what you mean. There's kind of the commercial side of it versus the, the reality, right? Which house music has been around, a long time, and people have a lot of experience that should be valued, right? A lot of
Oh,
craft is important. So yeah,
well, and I do say that even too about even from the ones that are seasoned artists, and even for the youth, because even seasoned artists, have a tendency of shutting out new artists or young
mm,
artists. And I think that's equally as wrong. So I think we need to find a balance in terms of, even when it comes to DJs, there should be a balance of where you would want to learn from each other. Yes, there's always going to be this competitive nature. And yes, there are going to be some um, things within the industry as they are, in any part of the music industry. There's always going to be about, as I said before, the way you look, the way you sound, the producer you're working with at the moment, how many seats you can get, how many asses you can get into those seats, or nowadays, how many streams can you pull?
yeah,
How many views can you get? So I just think that if we just really start letting people know that music comes in all shapes and sizes, and there is a lot more room than what we give credit for. So that's definitely one thing that I would change about the industry.
no, it's well said. No, thank you for that. Great. So any final thoughts before we wrap up here?
Well, I do want to say this. Yes, I would like to thank you, Dobrel, for your hard work and your effort on our track, The Joy,
Thank you, Xavier.
um, which, of course, everyone you can get it on all platforms. And I would like to thank Max Vangeli of No Face Records, and everyone at No Face Records. But I just want to bring it back to Lawrence. Yeah, it was a lot of work put into that particular track, and um, I tell you, you can just tell that there's a lot of love and attention towards it. So it's definitely appreciated on my end. And as I said before, I get a lot of great feedback regarding the message of the song, and definitely the track itself. So just overall, I think we make great music together, and I hope that we work on another track or some more tracks,
Absolutely. No, I think
I'm just gonna put
yeah,
it out there.
100%. No, listen, I love working with you, so I think you're a real talent. I mean, I just want to say that as well. I mean, I think you know your craft, very well, and I think you have a real talent for songwriting, and you're a great singer. You can really lay it down. So I think for the style of music that we're trying to make, I think it's a really good mix. So yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping to make a bunch more tracks with you. So looking forward to that. And obviously, everyone, you can catch the video on the end of this interview. So I'll tag that on to the final upload for YouTube. So you'll be able to hear the joy if you haven't heard it, and I'll put all links in the description as well, where you can download and stream the joy as well. And keep an eye out for more. So there will be more fire coming from myself and Xavier as well. So yeah, watch out.
Absolutely.
Great. Listen, always a pleasure catching up with you. So listen, we'll talk soon. I'm gonna
Ah,
just have to bounce at the moment. So always a pleasure. Talk soon, man, and looking forward to our next hit.
all right, peace out. Thank you so much. Thank you. And congratulations on the new podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm absolutely very excited for it. So glad that you're the first guest, and very very honored to have you on, and excited for the next few episodes. Keep an eye out, everyone. So we're going to try and do this at least every few weeks, and it's going to get exciting over time. So thank you so much.
All right,
All
sounds
right.
good. Take care.
I feel the hope, the passion in my heart. The love I feel wants to know when we're gonna start. You see the lies, the lines, the lows and the pain. Love is anew, feeling joy, laughter and change. The time is now for love to shine, grow and show. Cause the love I have for you is greater than they know. A love so strong, they'll never understand. Something so pure, you don't leave it up to chance. Here we stand, tall, tried and true. Nothing can come between what's me and you. What we found could never ever go away. This type of love is truly here to stay. Reach inside your heart, dig inside your soul. It's not a lie, it's not the greatest story ever told. Never felt such joy, long overdue. I'm so glad that we met, the love I found in you. The joy, I found joy. I found joy, my happiness and joy. The joy, I found joy. I found joy, my happiness and joy. I found joy, my happiness and joy.